back to CBS News 24/7. I'm Elizabeth Cook. A mixed close on Wall Street this Monday as oil prices fall. The Dow closed up more than 260 points today. Let's take a look at our interactive stock market heat map brought to you by FinViz, showing the top 500 stocks there. The top left, a lot of red for those semiconductor stocks. So let's go live to Yahoo Finance senior reporter Brooke DePalma. Brooke, great to see you. Let's start with oil prices. What's driving them lower this week, and what can we expect when it comes to gas prices?
Elizabeth, it really is that renewed conversations between the U.S. and Iran that's driving oil lower this afternoon. And what we saw was the global benchmark Brent crude fall below $90 per barrel, really for the first time in 10 days. Now, this is significant because we did see gas prices rise above $4 per gallon for the second time this year. And that was the first time that this has ever happened, two times during the year on record. And so this was quite significant. We did, though, see gas prices hover at $4.11 overnight. Signs of some moderation there, perhaps, according to Gas Buddy's Patrick DeHaan. But he did say that based upon these renewed talks, we could see gas hover around $4.11, go as high as $4.15 to $4.20 for the national average. However, it all comes down essentially to this sort of being a pause, a moment of opportunity to reflect as the Federal Reserve is expected to meet on Wednesday. And just because oil prices are pulling back doesn't necessarily mean that inflation is going to lower. There's lots of volatility, lots of different factors. And so the Federal Reserve is still expected to increase rates, but that is likely to happen in September versus this week.
And also happening this week, some of the biggest tech companies released their earnings. What are investors going to be looking for?
Bottom line, they're looking for CapEx spending. That means they're looking for just how much they're going to spend on this AI infrastructure build out. We're going to get results from Amazon, from Apple, from Microsoft, and Facebook's parent company, Meta. And investors are hyper-focused to see just how much they're going to spend if they do raise their guidance. There's expectations on the street that Amazon could raise their outlook for 2026 when it comes to this sort of spending, even after they already set the bar high. They said that they're planning on spending $200 billion this year. And that's because last week, Google's parent company, Alphabet, raised both ends of their ranges of just how much they plan to spend on AI infrastructure by about $15 billion. Now they plan to spend about $195 billion to $205 billion. Also, we heard from Tesla, of course, the car company, but also it's investing in robo-taxis and robots. And they said that they plan to spend more than $25 billion this year. So investors want to know just how much this is going to cost, Elizabeth.
And Brooke, OpenAI CEO Sam Altman, we just mentioned it in the block before now, is reportedly heading to Washington this week to discuss the company's new AI models. What do we know so far about this visit? And is Altman planning to address one of OpenAI's models going rogue recently?
Yeah, OpenAI's model went rogue by accessing an open source platform called Hugging Face. It seems like they were doing some closed off testing, and then it went rogue in the sense that it gained access to the internet, and then it gained access, or essentially a security breach, into Hugging Face. It's largely expected that he could face some questions about that. It's also expected that he could face some questions about competition rising globally. We know that there are rising models within China, especially from startup company Moonshot AI called Kimi K3, that is. And there's likely to be some questions about that. That's known to be more cheap, more effective. And so there's definitely questions about that rising. But then ultimately, the big question here will be about new models that OpenAI is looking to unveil, especially as there's been rising concern among legislators that there needs to be more testing ahead of these models' releases. And we know that there's potentially a reason for him there to meet with Senator Mark Warren, who did introduce a package of artificial intelligence legislation most recently.
Brooke DePalma, thanks so much. Always great to talk to you.